Hello everyone, Clint here, doing a quick video tire review. I've got the new Vittoria Peyote on the rear, 29 by 2.4 here on my blessed giant trance, and then we've got the new Mezcal 29 by 2.4 up front. So I wanted to give you a quick comparison, rundown on what these tires ride like. Quick summary would be surprising traction. I have never ridden a true cross-country race tire before. I've ridden, you can see over here, I've got things to compare. I've got the specialized ground control over here, the Vittoria Syerra, which is supposed to be their more like downcountry tire. I've ridden those. I'm very familiar with how those ride. But something described as a true cross-country race tire, I have never ridden before. By the way, if you don't know how I do my reviews, if you're new to this, it's pretty low production quality, but I'm just going to tell you, how it is. Anyway, took these tires out. A couple things. I've never ridden tires that roll this fast. On pavement, I went and did a climb that I had just recently set my PR with that ground control and a very worn out ground control in the rear. I had just set a PR of like a minute, 20 seconds on this really steep hill in town. Went out on these tires, didn't give it maybe 90% of the effort, and got a 108. Smoked that time. I could not believe it. Had plenty left in the tank. And then out on trail. So I rode these at Steelville Bike Park. Now, Steelville Bike Park is very gravelly. All right, it's little gravelly loose rock. A lot of the dirt, it has eroded. The climb is a nice dirt climb, but the downhill trails and the berms, I was expecting a terrifying experience with this peyote. What I really thought was that I would test this peyote. I mean, look at how smooth that is down the middle. You can really see there's not a whole lot of knob going on. And down the center, there's no knobbies. It's strips of rubber. I expected to run this, test it, do one or two rides on it, and then take it off. And maybe put the other Mezcal I have on the back. Try that out. I'm rethinking that because the traction, for how fast these roll, I was shocked at how not scary they were. And I think I know the reasons why. First of all, let's just talk about the peyote. Now, if you're in very steep terrain and you get on the brakes, it's going to lock up and skid. But it doesn't skid nearly as fast or as easy as I thought. One, when you brake, you're going, you have to realize when you lock a tire up, the tread is hitting the ground this way on the bottom. So you're braking against these V's, for one thing. The other thing is cornering. As soon as you start to leave it, there's little knobs. The knobs get bigger as you go out farther that engage, but this rubber is actually pretty compliant. These little ridges here flex pretty well. These knobbies are not overly stiff. And I think I realized if you're climbing up rocks and roots, especially big rocks or smooth rocks and smooth roots, big knobbies don't help you get traction on roots and rocks. That's a smooth surface. And so just a compliant, smooth rubber that conforms is going to do just as well on roots and rocks, if not better than a knobby tire. And I took this up. There are some extremely steep, punchy climbs at Steelville that you can do that are loose. I had no problems. That was my biggest takeaway, is like, I cannot believe how much traction there is. Now, is it the same amount of traction as a straight up trailer enduro tire? No. Is it as much traction as this ground control if this was on the rear? Overall, no. Is it as much on wet roots and rocks? Yes. Is it as much on loose, gravelly stuff and dirt? No. These knobbies, much bigger. But it certainly rolls faster. Now, an interesting comparison. Let's talk about the Mezcal. This Mezcal, I'm going to try to get where you can... Let's try to get these side by side. If I don't knock my bike over... Oh, I'm so sorry for the camera work right there. Basically knocking my bike over, moving tires around. This is live. This is how we do it. I'm not editing this. Okay, let's get these side by side here. Okay, this is a ground control. There's the Mezcal. It's hard to tell. Can't get the focus right. The ground control knobbies are definitely more aggressive. Okay, they're a little taller. Certainly in the middle. You can see the Mezcal kind of almost has a totally smooth center line right down the middle that's almost unbroken. But the compliance with the siping in these Mezcal knobs, every single one of these knobs has a split in it, a sipe. It's actually, they're pretty compliant. I don't know if the old Mezcal is like that or if that's just for these new 2024 XC race versions. It was way closer in traction to that ground control than I was expecting. Even if I wanted a more, like, let's just say fun overall setup that I wanted to match the ground control with but still roll even faster, I would maybe do something like Mezcal rear, Agaro front. Now, what I don't know is, I really think Vittoria, if this, in fact, if these knobs are a new compound, which I think they are, I would love for them to update the compound on the trail casing version. Although this casing is also updated. It is 60 TPI. It's not 120 like the old XC race. And so I kind of figured durability would be a problem. I think for light trail riding, cross-country style riding, it's not. They seem very well thought out. Now, traction-wise, here's something I wasn't expected. I'm going to pull up this Syerra here that I dropped. The Vittoria Syerra is meant to be their more aggressive, like, downcountry tire. You see how much daylight there is between the knobs? I mean, see if I can get it to focus. So much daylight. I have found that for where I live, that's very rocky, little sharp, pointy, gravelly rocks, there's too much daylight. Makes it more puncture prone. The other thing is these knobs, even when the tire was new, are harder. They feel very hard compared to the knobs on this. Feel like they would just flex and conform much better. I think the Syerra, if you live somewhere where there's actual dirt to dig into, might be a little better. But if you live somewhere where it's more rocky, rooty, East Coast style maybe, I mean, I'm in the Midwest, I think I'd take the Mezcals, at least these new Mezcals, just because of the compliance in the, let's back this up a little bit, wrong way. I don't know what I'm doing. Again, not going to edit it, sorry. The compliance in the knobs has made a huge difference. I never had that, even climbing, getting a little, you go kind of sideways over a root or rock. Even with the ground control, sometimes you'd get that slip, that kind of where the knobs are just kind of sliding off and folding. Didn't have any of that with either of these tires. I truly believed I was going to take this Peyote off because I didn't think it would be, quote, fun. But I am starting to come around to, you know what's fun? Having maximum speed and efficiency down the trail with little effort. And quite honestly, the braking traction was adequate enough that I never felt sketched out, even though I was on gravelly trails. And the cornering traction was fine as well. So basically, I'm just going to leave it on here until maybe I puncture it, because what's still out is how are the sidewalls going to hold up. But I'm actually optimistic, being that they're 60 TPI, which is the same as the Syerra. They just don't have the bead reinforcement, I don't believe, but I have inserts in anyway, so I'm not really worried about snake bite. And yeah, they're actually great. I've been having a great time on them. Uh, I almost don't want to tell my buddies that I'm supposed to race later in the year at the BT Epic because I just want them to run what they run because I think these will be an advantage. So that's my opinion on the peyote and the mezcal. If I didn't talk about what you wanted me to talk about, leave a message in the comments, and I always answer them. So thanks for watching. Again, sorry I don't have great production quality. I don't show myself much. Here I will. Not much to look at, so you can see why I don't usually bother. And that's it, everybody. Thanks for watching.